Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. It's that time again to look at our college football picks and predictions. The games that we're going to be looking at is all of our Week 8 2025 games we have coming up, all the top 25 matchups. We're going to break them all down and try to predict the outcome, the winner, the loser, the final score. We'll also take an in-depth look at our best bets, the money lines, the spreads, the over-unders. First things first, though, before we even get started, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, drop them below. Let me know who you think is going to win these games. Leave it in the comment section. If you want to sign up for one of our member picks, check out the pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. If my voice sounds a little hoarse, I am getting over being sick, but want to make sure to get this video up. Let's jump right into it. Our very first one, kicking everything off. We have a Friday game. You know what happens Friday games. Expect the unexpected. Upsets tend to happen on these weekday games. I hate weekday college football games, but it is what it is. October 17th, 7 p.m. on ESPN. 4-1, the Louisville Cardinals on the road here versus number 2, the undefeated, the 5-0 Miami Hurricanes coming off the bye with a weekday. Those are two bad things right now for a Mario Cristobal team. Usually they don't fare well off the bye. He did get over that hump last week, and you know Miami, some people have them as the number 1 team in the nation. They have a great offense, a great offensive line, a great defensive front seven, great secondary, good offense, good defense. They're one of the more balanced teams. Some think they are the most balanced team in the nation. 84.9% chance to win. Cardinals a 15.1% chance. Miami 13-point favorites here. 53.5 over under. Do not underestimate Louisville, though. This is a Jeff Brom team, one of the better play callers in college football. What he does is he makes sure to completely adapt his play calling to the skill set on his roster. Whatever his players can do, he's going to call plays to get the ball to his playmakers, get it to them in space. That's really all that you can ask. Miller Moss, veteran quarterback, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4 picks. Isaac Brown, they got to get the run game going. This is one of the better running backs in the ACC. Bell having a great season, well over 500 yards. Louisville's averaging 36 points a game, throwing for 289, running for 115. They're not the best rushing team. They have kind of a questionable offensive line. That won't bode well versus this Miami aggressive front seven, and they're giving up 21 points per game. The Hurricanes, Carson Beck, the veteran, if it comes down to one final drive, you know that Beck can take it right down the field. Over 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, like a 74% completion percentage right now. Fletcher's closing in on 500 yards on the ground. How about Tony? Started the season 17 years old, lighting things up. One of the best slot receivers in college football. They're averaging 35 points a game, throwing for 264.2, running for 163.8, only giving up 13.6 points a game. The change this team made from last season to this season is extraordinary on the defensive front, only giving up 87.4 on the ground. Great defensive front seven. That makes the difference. Miami just has to make sure to close this game out, unlike they did the Florida State game. Miami wins it 34-23. And another Friday night game that's a top 25 matchup on Fox at 8 p.m. Number 25, Nebraska Cornhuskers 5-1. Welcome back to the top 25. Matt Rule's team, their discipline, actually a pretty easy schedule to close out the season. Their only remaining really tough game would be USC. There's the possibility that they finish the season 10-2. If that happens, do they make the playoffs? They haven't had a hard schedule, but coming out of the Big Ten, pretty good shot. They just have to make sure not to drop these games. They're on the road versus the 4-2 Minnesota Golden Gophers. PJ Flex team, you know they usually have a pretty stout defense, disciplined team. Minnesota at home, 24.7% chance to win. Nebraska, 75.3% chance. Cornhuskers, 7.5-point favorites, 46.5 over under. Nebraska, 41 points a game. Dana Holgerson's calling plays, one of the best offensive minds of the last 2 decades. Throwing for 310.2, running for 139.8, only giving up 18.7 points a game. Stout defense, great secondary, only giving up 118 through the air, shutting down the pass, giving up some rushing yards, but at least they do one of their things good. Minnesota, 27.3 points a game, throwing for 228.5. Running for 112.3, giving up 21.2 points a game. Lindsey's going to be the veteran quarterback here for Minnesota. 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. And for Nebraska, the 5-star Dylan Raiola back for another season. 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 picks. Johnson almost 700 yards on the ground. Hunter having a great season from the wide receiver position. I think Nebraska's going to cruise here in this game. Might be close, maybe the first half, but they ultimately win 26-17. Now moving on to our Saturday matchups, October 18th, 12 p.m. on ABC. Number 10 LSU 5-1 versus number 17 the Vanderbilt Commodores 5-1. This is going to be in Nashville. Vanderbilt's going to be at home. Stadium should be packed here. This is top 25 versus top 25, and actually Vandy Number 17 is the Vegas favorite against the LSU Tigers. That means that Vegas and the fans are letting them know they don't have a lot of faith in this LSU offense. Deservedly so. Nussmeier, they're not playing well. They're not passing well. They can't run the ball. Great defense, though. Top 15 national defense right now. Year 2 under Blake Baker. They've taken massive strides forward, but they got to get the offense back on track. The offense has never been a problem under Brian Kelly with LSU. Things have kind of switched the other way. Right now, Vanderbilt 60.8% chance to win. The Tigers a 39.2. Vandy's 2.5-point favorites, 49.5 over under. LSU 25.8 points a game. I'm pretty sure they've only scored over 20 like one time this year. They got to get the offense. They have to be a lot more aggressive passing the ball down the field. 258.5 passing, 115 rushing. That's not good enough. That leaves you at least be around 150. But they are only giving up 11.8 on the ground. And you know the old adage, defense does travel. Expect the defense to come here to Vanderbilt. They're going to be aggressive. The goal here, get Diego Pavia on the ground. Diego Pavia, almost 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's also the team's leading rusher, 352 yards on the ground with 2 rushing touchdowns. He does a little bit of everything. He's about 70% of this team offense. If you can stop Diego Pavia, you can stop the Vanderbilt offense because he amounts for all of it right now. This is like his 15th year of college football practically. He's a super senior. Stowers having a great season. Vandy overall 43.2 points a game, throwing for 258.8, running for 208.7. Very balanced team here. They can move the ball, and they were even able to move it against that Alabama defense. They're giving up 19.3 points a game. But really, have they been truly tested yet? They played one good team. They lost to Alabama. They are the favorites here, but I think LSU's defense here will show up on the road. They get aggressive. They shut down the rushing attack. They put Diego Pavia into third and long situations, potentially force some turnovers. LSU wins this one, pulls off the upset technically, 26-20. And this next one's a very difficult game to call on ESPN at 12 p.m. Number 12, Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, undefeated 6-0. Are they really the number 12 team in the nation? Some would say no, some would say yes, but the fact of the matter is they continue to win. They are undefeated out of one of the Power 4 conferences. They'll be on the road here versus the 4-2 Duke Blue Devils. Manny Diaz's team, do not underestimate Duke here. They got some good quarterback play. Right now, Duke at home, 61.8% chance to win. Georgia Tech, 38.2% tan. Duke, the unranked team, 3-point favorites, a 61.5 over-under. Vegas sees a lot of points being scored. Georgia Tech, they're averaging 36.7 points a game. Throwing for 238.8, running for 238. That is a 50-50 balanced offense, getting up 21 points a game. So much of this offense runs through Haynes King. He does a little bit of everything. 1,000 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's also the team's leading rusher, closing in on 500 with 9 rushing touchdowns. They have Jamal Haynes, great running back. Canyon having a pretty good season. Brent Key, what he does, he grounds and pounds. He runs the ball. He controls time of possession, keeps the ball away from the opponent's offense's hands. And they're going to have to do that to have a chance here. Duke, 36.5 points a game, throwing for 310, running for 157, giving up 25.5 points a game. But how about Mensa transferring in here, 1,900 passing yards, the leading ACC passer, one of the highest passers in the nation right now, 15 touchdowns, 2 picks. Shepard on the ground closing in on 500, and Barkett closing in on 500 receiving. This is a multiple type of offense. They can do a little bit of everything. They are at home. I did kind of waffle back and forth in this game. It's a really difficult one to call. I think this one is practically a pick-em. But I'm going to go with Georgia Tech inching out the victory on the road here, 30-27. We will revisit this game later this week, though. At 12 p.m. on the SEC Network, number 14, the Oklahoma Sooners, 5-1, coming off that loss to Texas here. The big question, what is the health status for John Mateer? Definitely did not look 100% last week. He has 6 touchdowns, 6 picks, has to keep the turnovers down. The offensive line has to hold up. The running back room has to hold up. The wide receivers, they are lacking in the playmaker department. Someone on this offense has to step up because this is a one-man offense practically. Wherever he goes, the offense goes with him. They're on the road here versus the 3-3 South Carolina Gamecocks. Started out the season like top 10, fell kind of off the rails right now. The defense is still holding up. Really good front seven. They can shut down the run. Sellers, so many questions about his passing ability. We know that he can run. We know that he's a dual threat, but I've seen him overthrow wide open receivers. I've seen him throw it in the dirt. They have to work on that. If they can't pass the ball successfully, Oklahoma, great front seven, top 10 national defense. They're just going to stack the box. They're going to shut down the run game. Force him into third and long situations. That's not where he wants to be. Gamecocks, 45.1% chance to win. Sooners, 54.9. Oklahoma, 4.5-point favorites. 43.5 over-under. John Mateer leading the way. They're adding 29.2 points a game. Throwing for 266.7. Running for 122.3. Only giving up 9.8 points per game. Only 126 through the air. 84 through the ground. This is a really good defense, but they need the offense to help them out, keep them off the field, let them get your breath, get a couple first downs. Gamecocks 22.3 points a game, throwing for 194.7, running for 115.3, giving up 19. I think the Sooners and their defense makes itself known. They win 27-17. And then some Big Ten football, CBS 3:30. The number one, the defending national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes, undefeated 6-0 on the road versus the 2-4 Wisconsin Badgers. Things aren't looking good for Luke Fickell right now. Probably going to be getting fired at some point. Wisconsin, a 5.2% chance to win at home. The Buckeyes, a 94.8% chance. Ohio State, 27.5-point favorite. They have been covering spreads, though. The offense hasn't been lighting things up, but they run the ball. They just play good defense, special teams, and they run the ball. And the over-under is 41.5. The Buckeyes, 36.8 points a game, saying looking really comfortable in this system right now. They're not asking him to do too much. Just distribute the ball to the playmakers. 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 3 picks. They're throwing for 260.8, running for 160.7, only giving up 6.8 points per game. The number one defense in the country. They, for the first time last week, gave up double-digit points. They had the number one defense last year. They have the number one defense again this season. This defense might be even better than last season's. They got to get Jackson going on the ground. Great wide receiver core, probably the best wide receiver core in the nation. Smith, Ennis, Tate, weapons all over the field. And how about the Badgers? 15.5 points per game against the number one defense. That doesn't look like it's looking too good. Right now they're throwing for 180.3, running for 112.2, giving up 22.7 points a game. But for Christ's sakes, the defense is on the field the entire game. They're going to get gashed. They're going to get wore out. Give me the Buckeyes winning this one 35-10. And then moving to the SEC at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN, number 4, the Texas A&M Aggies, 6-0, undefeated, top 10 roster in the country. Mike Elko, disciplined, hard-nosed coach. They're going to play defense. They're going to run the ball, but the passing attack's been working really good this season also. They'll be going up against the 2-4 Arkansas Razorbacks at Arkansas. Sam Pittman's been fired. Bobby Petrino back at the helms again for round 2 with the Razorbacks. Still one of the best offensive minds of the last 2 decades. Right now, Arkansas at home, 30% chance to win. The Aggies, a 70% chance. Heavy favorites. A&M, 7.5-point favorites. 62.5 over-under. This is 2 offenses that can both light it up. The Aggies obviously led by Marcel Reed. 12 touchdowns, 4 picks, 1,500 yards. He's also a dual-threat quarterback. He will run it if you flush him out of the pocket. Moss is fully healthy now. 400 yards rushing, 6 rushing touchdowns. Craver, one of the best wide receivers in the nation, easily a top 3. Some might say number 1. 32 receptions, 634 yards. This guy is a machine. Just throw the ball up. He will come down with it. But Arkansas, they can also score some points. Taylon Green, 1,700 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 picks. Washington Jr., almost 600 on the ground. Green has 500 on the ground himself. Well over 2,000 yards of total offense for him. Blake closing in on 500 receiving. They're averaging 36.3 points a game. Arkansas can score some points, but gosh, they give up a lot of points. This game's going to be a shootout. Might be some fireworks. Could easily come down to the final possession. They're throwing for 293.3, running for 218.2, 500 yards of offense a game. They're giving up 30.7. The Aggies will be able to move the ball. There's no doubt about that. You guys can completely call me crazy on this one. I get it. I understand. It makes no sense. I'm going to go Arkansas. For some reason, I'm feeling it. Give me the Razorbacks pulling off the upset, 30-28. We'll see if it happens, but for some reason, I'm not thinking the Aggies are going to finish this season undefeated. Arkansas, with Bobby Petrino, they might have just enough to pull off an upset here. ABC at 3:30 p.m. staying in the SEC. Number 5, the Ole Miss Rebels, 6-0 undefeated. Almost lost last week to Washington State. Think they got caught looking at this game. They played like crap, but hey, they still got the W. That's all that matters at the end of the day. They'll be on the road versus number 9 Georgia Bulldogs, 5-1. Yes, they lost that 33-game home winning streak to Alabama. That's been snapped, but they're looking to rebound, reset it, get things back on track. This offense, they barely squeaked out within an inch of their life versus the Auburn Tigers at Auburn. Georgia has 9 lives right now. They are running through them. Things just continue to bounce in their favor, finding ways to win. That's all that you can ask for, though. But this offense needs some fine-tuning. This is not the best Georgia team. This is probably the worst Georgia team we've seen in the last 5 to 6 seasons. Still a very talented team. Still a top 10 overall roster, top 5 overall roster. But I have a lot of questions about the offense, the passing attack, and really about the rushing, and mainly about Bobo's offensive play calling. I don't like his play calling, but that's the way Kirby Smart wants him to call plays. Right now, Georgia, 69.7% chance to win. The Rebels, a 30.3%. This is Lane Kiffin's team. You know they're going to be able to score points. That's what they do. Ole Miss, the higher-ranked team, the underdog here. Georgia, 6.5-point favorites, 54.5 over-under. Stockton's leading the way at quarterback. They have Bowens, Young, Branch. For Christ's sake, can we give the ball to the playmakers, Young and Branch? Feed Branch in space. He's one of the most electrifying slot guys in the country. You just got to give him the ball constantly. Georgia's averaging 32.2, throwing for 228.5, running for 185.7, giving up 17 points a game. Solid defense. Ole Miss, 37.8 points a game, throwing for 311, running for 204.3, giving up 19.2. Shambliss takes over for Simmons. Hasn't even been the quarterback the entire season. Already 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 picks. He's not a dual threat quarterback, but he will run, but he wants to beat you with his arm. They have Lacey closing in on 600, Wallace closing in on 400, but George is at home. If this was at Ole Miss, I would honestly pick the Rebels to win, but it's not. It's in Athens. Give me Georgia, 28-24, close game. Fox at 4 p.m., number 7, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, undefeated, 6-0. How about Texas Tech this season? They run the air raid offense, but they're also running it. They're up-tempo. They're built at the line of scrimmage, number 1 transfer portal class. They have a great offensive line, great defensive front 7. Who would have ever thought Texas Tech would be a line of scrimmage football team? Fun thing to watch, undefeated. They might drop one at some point, though. The big question, is this going to be the week? They're on the road here versus 4-2 Arizona State Sun Devils, kind of flirting with being ranked throughout the entire season. They made the playoffs last season. Dillingham, great coach. Sun Devils, 24.4% chance to win. Texas Tech, 75.6. The Red Raiders, 11.5-point favorites, 48.5 over-under. Red Raiders, 47.5 points a game, top 10 offense in the country. Throwing for 325.3, running for 232.8, only giving up 12.2 points per game. Solid defense. Only 67 on the ground. Shutting down the rush game. Fun thing to watch. Morton's been banged up at the quarterback position. They had to bring in Hammond twice this season. We don't know who's going to be getting the start here at quarterback. But no matter what, thankfully for them, they have Dickey at the running back position. 600 yards already rushing, 8 touchdowns. Talented wide receiver core. The other side, Sam Levitt, he's banged up. Will he be playing this game? We don't know. If not, expect a steady dose of Brown on the ground, 600 yards. Tyson, 600 yards receiving. Arizona State, 26 points a game, throwing for 193.8, rushing for 200.3, giving up 24.7 points a game. If they have Levitt, and if Texas Tech doesn't have Morton, Sun Devils might pull off the upset. But either way, give me Texas Tech right now winning this game. Closer game, but they ultimately get the win, 35-20. 4 p.m. on ESPN2, number 22, welcome to the top 25, the 6-0, the Memphis Tigers. They're going to be one of these Power 5 teams, either them or USF are the front runners currently. They're on the road versus the 2-4 UAB Blazers. They just fired Trent Dilfer. They have the interim coach right now. They have a 4.1% chance to win. Tigers, 95.9. They are 21-point favorites, 64.5 over-under. Memphis, they can do a little bit of everything. 40.5 points a game, throwing for 211.5, running for 238.7, giving up 16.2 points a game. They can throw it. They can run it. Lewis, 1,300 yards passing. Smith, almost 500 on the ground. UAB, 29.5 points a game, throwing for 300, running for 106.5, giving up 41.3 points a game. That's the real number there. They give up a buttload of points. Kitna having a great season at the quarterback position, 1,800 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 4 picks, but they give up 238 through the air, 214 on the ground. Memphis is going to be able to have their way with them on offense. They win it 45-20. And on the Big Ten Network at 6:30 p.m., the number 8 Oregon Ducks, 5-1. They are out for revenge. They just lost that last game at home to Indiana. They're going to want to take that out on someone. Unfortunately for Rutgers, it's probably going to be them. Rutgers right now, 3-3, the Scarlet Knights. It's a Greg Schiano's team, very disciplined. They have a pretty good offense this season, but they usually have a good defense. They don't have a good defense this year. Right now, Rutgers only a 16.2% chance to win. The Ducks at 83.8. The Ducks, one of the best rosters in the nation. Dan Lanning has built this team from the trenches out. They're a line of scrimmage football team. Dante Moore, not his best start last week, but come on. This is his first season as a full-time starter. 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's done so much against great defenses this season. He can throw it. He's not a dual-threat quarterback, but if you leave it there, if you leave him the first down on the ground, he will take off and take it. Hill closing in on 300, Moore closing in on 400. Oregon, 42.2 points a game, throwing for 251.3, running for 213. Very balanced offense, getting a 15.2 points a game. Just an all-around balanced team. Rutgers, 35.7 points a game, throwing for 309. Running for 134.8, but they're giving up 27.5 points a game. They at least usually have a very good defense. They're getting gashed at the air, getting gashed in the ground. Calamanis right now, 1,800 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks. I never thought Greg Schiano would be throwing the ball that much, but it's been working so far. But I don't think it's going to work for Oregon. Oregon comes on the road here. They travel all the way across the country. I do hate that. That makes absolutely no sense, but it is what it is. They win this one 40-17. 6:30 p.m. on the CW network. 3-3 Washington State coming off of almost upsetting Ole Miss. That probably works in Virginia's favor here. They might have slept on this team before. Now they better not sleep on the Cougars here. Cougars almost beat the Rebels last week, so you better be taking them serious here. Virginia 5-1, number 18. Great season so far. Great offense so far. They have a 91.8% chance to win. The Cougars a 8.2. But if Virginia get caught looking at ACC play here, Washington State showed they're going to come here on the road and they're going to straight up beat you. Right now, it costs 800 yards passing. They're averaging 20.7 points a game, throwing for 226.7, running for 86.3, giving up 28 points a game. They don't have a good defense, but at least they're a competitive, gritty team. And the Cavaliers, 17.5 point favorites, 56.5 over under. Morris at the quarterback position, 1,500 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 4 picks. He showed versus Florida State. If you flush him out, he can scramble, but he's still always keeping his eyes looking down the field. They're throwing for 271.7, running for 217.5, giving up 23.8. Solid offense, maybe a dark horse in the ACC conference. I have Virginia holding on. They win this one, 34-23. ESPN at 7 p.m. The number 21, the Texas Longhorns, 4-2. Welcome back to the top 25, Texas. Texas has zero room for error. If they win out, finish 10-2 out of the SEC, they will make the playoffs. If they lose one more, if they finish 9-3, that's not good enough to make the playoffs. They better bring their A game every single week, and they need some style points. They'll be on the road versus the 2-3 Kentucky Wildcats. Mark Stoops' team, usually very disciplined, not that disciplined this season. And where's the defense gone? They definitely don't have it this year. Kentucky, 17.9% chance to win. Texas, a 82.1. But if Texas has one of their bad offensive days, Kentucky can potentially keep this game close because Arch Manning not putting up the best number so far, and he's the leading rusher. Wisner ran the ball well last week. They have to continue the ground and pound. They have to own the rushing game. That's going to help out Arch Manning because it's going to open up the play action. Texas, 11.5 point favorites, 42.5 over under. Longhorns, 28.5 points a game, throwing for 233.2, running for 166.5, only giving up 11 points a game. This is top 10 defense. Talented overall roster, only giving up 74 on the ground. They showed last week they shut that down versus the Oklahoma Sooners. Kentucky, 24.4 points a game, throwing for 172.2, running for 159.4, giving up 27.8. No matter who they roll out at the quarterback position, too many turnovers. Texas is going to live in the backfield. They're going to create havoc back there. Longhorns win this one, 28-13. 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Number 11, the Tennessee Volunteers, 5-1. And they continue to win games, but boy, does it get sloppy sometimes. They give up a lot of points, but Josh Heupel, one of the best offensive minds in college football. No matter who his skill players are, he adapts his play calling. They score points no matter what. Joey Aguilar was only on this team for like 3 days when the season started, and he's been lighting up through the air, on the ground. Tennessee, top 5 offense in the nation on the road here versus number 6, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Since that loss to Florida State, Kalen DeBoer, this team has rebounded. They are on a roll right now, 5-1, couple top 25 wins under their belt already. Grubb's back as the offense coordinator. That's the Boers guy. They love that deep vertical passing game, but let me just slow you guys down here. You need to be able to run the ball second half of the season. SEC play. If you make the playoffs, you have to control the pace, slow the game down second half when you're facing good teams. That's where you need that ground and pound. Alabama, 72.4% chance to win. Volunteers, 27.6. Bama's 8.5 point favorites, 59.5 over under. Tennessee, Joey Aguilar, 1,700 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, 5 picks. Bishop, 500 on the ground. Brazel, 600 through the air. They're averaging 48.2, throwing for 317.8, running for 210, giving up 29.3. Alabama, 34.8 points a game, throwing for 304.5, very pass heavy, only running for 126.5. They have to get that number up. It is working so far, but it will come back to haunt them if they cannot consistently run the ball when everyone knows they're going to run. Third and short, fourth and short. They're only giving up 17.3 points a game. Simpson's looking like a Heisman guy right now. 1,700 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Jam Miller closing in on 300 on the ground. Bernard, William. This is a very talented wide receiver core. I don't blame them for throwing. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. Might go down to the fourth quarter. Ultimately, Bama puts it away. They win 32-27. And as fun as that game is, this next one might be the game of the weekend in terms of fireworks, just great quarterback play. 7:30 p.m. NBC, number 20, the USC Trojans, 5-1. Welcome back to the top 25. How about Mayava doing everything for this team? Lincoln Riley, the best offensive mind in college football, in my personal opinion. They'll be on the road here versus number 13, Notre Dame, fighting Irish, 4-2. Both these teams need this win bad. USC here, they've already lost one. If they were to lose this one, they'd have to win out to have a shot to make the playoffs, and they still have Oregon on their schedule. If they win out, they still have one mulligan left over with a pretty decent schedule. They can make the playoffs. Same thing for Notre Dame. They've already dropped two, one to the number 2 team, one to the number 4 team. They lost both those games by a combined 4 points. This is a really good team. The offense is cruising. Defense is back to last season standard. They finished last year number 3 defense in the nation. Started out the season awful. They've gotten things back on track. Props to Marcus Freeman there. The offense is rolling. Zero room for error. They cannot afford to lose any more games this season. They have a 68.8% chance to win at home. USC, a 31.2% chance. The Irish, 8.5-point favorites. 61.5 over-under. Trojans, 45.5 points a game. Throwing for 325.8. Running for 226.5. Almost 600 yards of offense a game. Giving up 21.3. Defense, year 2 with D'Anton Lynn looks really good. Mayaba, 1,900 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 2 picks. Jordan's banged up. But the depth of that running back room showed last week where they out-muscled Michigan at the line of scrimmage here. Notre Dame plays the same type of football as Michigan. Offensive line, defensive line, line of scrimmage football. Lemon, Lane, 2 of the best wide receivers in the nation. One of the best wide receiver cores in the nation. On the other side, C.J. Carr slinging it up and down the field. First season starting. He's having a great year, 13 touchdowns, 3 picks. Love, Pierce, Faison, Greathouse. So many veteran weapons on the team. I think that might make the difference down the stretch. The Irish win it at home, 33-27. But guys, this game's a pick 'em. And Vegas sees a boatload of points being scored in this one. ESPNU, 7:30 p.m. The 3-3 FAU Owls on the road versus number 19 South Florida, 5-1. That only loss of Miami. That's a good loss. USF, one of the front runners for the Power 5, them in Memphis, 92.6% chance to win. FAU, 7.4. The Bulls, 21.5-point favorites, 73.5 over-under. Buttload of points. FAU, 32.8 points a game. Velkamp, 1,800 yards, 14 touchdowns, 9 picks. That is a lot of turnovers halfway through the season. And on the other side, USF, Brown, this guy's doing everything. 400 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns. 1,500 passing, 13 touchdowns. He can throw it. They can run it. Golish has a really thing going right now. They're averaging 40.7 points a game, throwing for 260, running for 208.3, giving up 24.7. They have a multiple dual threat offense. They're at home. They win 45-23. SEC Network, 7:45 p.m. Number 16 Missouri Tigers, 5-1. That lone loss last week to Alabama. But boy, did they put up a fight. They even almost pulled off the upset on the road versus 3-3 Auburn Tigers. Poor Hugh Freeze. They just cannot buy when every call is not going their way. The ball keeps bouncing the other way. A lot of things are holding this team back. It seems like they're the team that's destined right now for just nothing to go their way and for them to finish with like a 6-6 record. That's a sad thing because they have a good ground game, a lot of talent, talented roster, great defense. Auburn, 46.3% chance to win. Mizzou, 53.7. Mizzou is the underdog, though. Auburn, 1.5-point favorites, 44.5 over-under. Jackson Arnold, we got to learn how to throw the ball, man. We need to have a vertical passing game here to help out the rushing game. Cobb on the ground, 500 yards rushing. They have a very talented wide receiver core, but they need a quarterback who can distribute it. Perbula on the other side, Penn State would have loved to still have this guy. 1,400 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 5 picks. Hardy got a little banged up last week. 800 yards rushing, 9 rushing touchdowns. Coleman closing in on 400. Mizzou, 41.7 points a game, throwing for 240.8, running for 270.5. This is what you call an extremely balanced offense. Only giving up 16.7 points a game. And they had that game they just barely lost last week. They're going to be out to make up for it. They want some revenge. Unfortunately for Auburn, again, they're bad luck. They have the revenge team coming into their house. They're averaging 24.7, throwing for 167.2, running for 164.2, giving up 17. If they had a capable offense, this would be a team who would be a very competitive matchup here. I have Mizzou winning this one on the road. They win it 23-20 and pull off the upset. In our second to last game, 8 p.m. on Fox, this is a fun Big 12 matchup. Number 23, the Utah Utes, 5-1. Kyle Whittingham, the second longest tenured coach in the country, and this team is physical, one of the best offensive lines, and they have a really good offense this season. They never have a great offense. They have one this year and a good defense to back it up. They're on the road versus number 15 BYU Cougars. Almost lost last week. Undefeated 6-0. Freshman quarterback taking over. Retzlaff transferred out. Bachmeier stepped in perfectly. This is a team that wants to run the ball. Keep the ball away from the other team's offense. Played a really good defense, but will they be able to slow down Utah? This is a battle for the state of Utah, technically. BYU, 51% chance to win. The Utes, a 49% chance. Utah's 3.5-point favorites, 47.5 over-under. The Utes are averaging 39.5 a game, throwing for 211.5, running for 248.2, only giving up 13.8 points a game. Solid numbers. Dampier does everything. 1,200 yards passing, 400 yards rushing. Davis having a great season. BYU, Bachmeier leading the way here. 37.5 points a game, throwing for 210.2, running for 238. How about Martin here? Almost 700 yards on the ground, and they're also only giving up 14.7 points a game. Two of the best defenses in the Big 12. It's probably going to be a low-scoring game here, but turnovers could spell doom late third, fourth quarter. I think Utah pulls away then. They win 32-20. And we made it to our final game, 8 p.m. ESPN2. Number 24, the Cincinnati Bearcats, 5-1. What a team. Back in the top 25, having a great season, having a great offensive season so far. On the road versus the 1-5 Oklahoma State Cowboys. Mike Gundy's long been fired at this point. The Cowboys, 8.6% chance to win. Cincinnati, 91.4 on the road. Bearcats, 22.5-point favorites. 57.5 over under Cincinnati. Sorsby's a dual threat quarterback. He does run the ball, but look at these passing numbers. 1,500 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, only one pick. Pryor, Goody, a lot of weapons here, 36 points a game. Throwing for 259.5. Running for 190.2, giving up 19.2 points a game. The Cowboys, they don't do anything right. They can't run the ball. They can't throw. They don't have a good offense at all. They don't have a good defense. They're only averaging 16.5 points a game, throwing for 176.2, running for 124.5, giving up 36.7 points a game, 298.7 through the air, 177.2 on the ground. You can throw on them. You can run on them. You can do anything you want. Give me the Bearcats winning this one 38-20. Guys, that's our picks, predictions, best bets on all of our college football matchups coming up for week 8 of the 2025 season. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Drop your comments below. Let me know who you think is going to win these games. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, make sure to check out that pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. Of course, as always, thank you for watching.